the tennis is on, so everybody's watching that, so I thought I'd do a podcast, an actual, real, bona fide podcast, and show you my new hair. So this is my new hair. I did have it chopped off, and I'm just preening myself in the screen here, and I quite like it. Usually I just wash it and then go to sleep on it, so it's a bit more shaggy and like sticks out and stuff, but last night we went out, so I blow dried it, and today it looks sort of semi well behaved. Now I'm giddy. I'm drinking a glass of Pimm's because Wimbledon final is on. When I say they are all watching it, I mean Toby, my husband, his mum and dad and his sister. So now and again you might hear the occasional, oh, yay, ooh. But the thing is, they don't really know who they want to win, so they don't know who they're cheering for, so they keep switching allegiances or alliances, whatever the word is. It's quite noisy, quite funny. Pimm's, if you didn't know what it is a drink that has a secret recipe, nobody knows. Other supermarkets have done dupes, or supermarkets have done copies, but Pimm's is a well-kept secret, and you serve it with lots of lemonade and cucumber, mint and strawberries usually. You can put in other fruits, but that's what we tend to go for. It is alcoholic, but not like one glass of this is going to knock you off your seat. It's absolutely lovely. My seat is creaky. If you hear funny noises, that's what that is. Anyway, so hang on. If this is your first time tuning in, I'd really love it if you would subscribe. Don't worry if you don't want to. But if you like what you see, then click the thumbs up. I'd love that. What you're going to find here is a bit of a dishevelled chat. No, let me start that again. What are you going to find here? I don't know how to describe myself. I am a crafter. I like to knit and sew. Any kind of sewing really, English paper piecing, embroidery, dressmaking, repairs, all of that sort of thing. Knitting is my first love, and I have got some knitting to show you, even though I have been very busy out in my garden. I've got a big garden, I've got 3 children, and that takes up a lot of my time at this time of year. Kids are off school now on holiday, which is blooming lovely, love it. And yeah, my priorities don't lie with my crafting as much as I'd love them to. They lie in looking after my kids and looking after our home and our garden and making it just a pleasant place for everybody to be. This weekend's been a good and busy and happy weekend. Oh, that's Wilf in his bedroom. I might have to bang on the ceiling. He doesn't know I've decided to start filming. We live in an old house. He's got wooden floorboards. I think he might be changing his room around yet again. What was I saying? What was I saying? Weekend. That's right. My husband was 51 on Tuesday, but a whole year ago, on his 50th birthday, we came home from having had a family meal out, and I said to Toby, I don't feel quite right. I think I'll do a COVID test. COVID test was negative. The next day, I didn't feel quite right, and then it got to the afternoon and it was like somebody had flicked a switch and my temperature just zoomed up. So I went to bed, felt dreadful, woke up the next day, felt horrendous, did a COVID test and I tested positive, which was a bummer because I had planned for, at the weekend, Toby's bestest friends great friends to travel down from the four corners of England to come and stay in Bristol and celebrate his birthday as a surprise. Ooh, Coconut, the hamster's woken up. I'll show you Coconut. Skip forward if you don't like hamsters. Coconut has got really fat. Look how massive he is. And he bites. Is that not focusing? I think I've turned off the tracking. Oh, you are so chubby. It's my fault because I feed you peanut butter. Isn't he cute? Look at the colour of him. He's lovely. He's our least friendly hamster. Is that focused? I don't understand my camera. He's having a drink now. So, messaged everybody on our WhatsApp group, of which I'd gone to great pains to change all the names of everybody. Wait, stop it. I will get onto the knitting in a minute. Just skip forward until you see me holding up a sock, okay? If you're not interested in life update. So I'd gone to great pains on the WhatsApp group to change everybody's names and title it Lift Share and put a load of footballs afterwards to distract Toby from the fact that I was chatting to all of his mates behind his back. And texted everybody and said, I've got COVID. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to go ahead without me or just cancel? And everybody just said, let's not risk it. And we'll reschedule it and do it another time. But none of the guys that were travelling from far away could get a refund on their hotel. So they all had weekends in Bristol last year. Bless them. They all had a lovely time. So then this year I sent out a message saying, look, I'm going to do a rerun. Who can come and who can't? And I'll alter the guest list accordingly. So that's what happened, because some of the guys couldn't come again. You know, they'd got holidays booked and what have you and other commitments. So finally, after a year and a bit, last night, we all got together and it was absolutely lovely. And Toby didn't have a clue. So he was properly surprised, which is amazing because it's hard to conceal anything from him. He's a very astute person. However, I was flabbergasted because although I changed the names on the WhatsApp group, things like names, so Chris Coast, I changed to Chris Coates, I changed to Chrissy Coast. Andy Morris, I changed to Andrea Morris. And as we were driving into the city yesterday, my phone had connected to CarPlay and it pinged up a text because I messaged saying, we're on our way, are you in the bar? And it came up with Chrissy Coast and then Andrea Morris, and how Toby didn't twig. He did say afterwards, I thought they were familiar names, but it just didn't occur to me. So for a whole year, that man has been teasing me, saying things like, you ruined my 50th birthday, and little did he know just how much I had ruined his birthday. So it was blooming lovely yesterday to have it all pulled together, and he just had such a lovely time and it was really great, and he's got some gorgeous friends, and it was a very life-affirming evening, I must say. I was bloody cold when we got in because we got soaked through to our skin running back to the car. And I was driving, so I hadn't been drinking. And normally you don't really feel the cold if you've had a drink, do you? But I was so cold, it took me ages to nod off last night. So I'm feeling pretty tired today. But we've just had birthday afternoon tea, pre-Wimbledon. Now they're all watching Wimbledon with their Pims. I've got my Pims here. And I'm going to chat to you guys, my favourite crew, about knitting and sewing and all that lovely stuff. Thanks for all the love, by the way, on my last video about the shepherd's hut. It was great that so many of you really understood what I was saying about being unable to relax until I'd got the job done, and that you would all have been the same, because I felt quite frustrated with myself. But now I just feel like, well, that's normal, so let's just put a line under it and move on. Right, knitting, here we go. I'll just hold this up for anybody who's been skipping forward through the life stuff. Where to start? So last year when I had COVID, I finished off, I think it was when I had COVID. No, it wasn't. It was when I had a virus in January. I finished off these socks. I've shown you these before. They've been much loved, much washed and worn. And they are a yarn called I Am the Gingerbread Man by Bird Street Yarn, with a mini from FamilyYarn. I'm not sure what this colour is. It's not showing up quite right. It's showing up a bit patchy and pink in the screen, but it's actually more of a cherry red. So I knitted these a little while ago, and the reason why I'm showing you, now look at the length of the, that was my chair, I Am a Gingerbread Man sock tube there. I then knitted another pair of socks, just slightly shorter, in what was left of the yarn, but this time I paired it with pink. I need to oil this chair, which is a wool barn yarn called, is that going to focus? I think I've turned off my focusing. I don't understand this camera. That is blowing out. It's a lovely pink, and it's called Knitting Angels by Maya at the Wool Barn, and it was from my friend Jules of So Sweet Violet fame for being a test knitter for her. She's not doing new patterns and test knitting at the moment, but when she was, she had a little crew of test knitters called her Knitting Angels, and she would send little gifts out at the end of the year just as a little thank you. So I think that that pink and that I Am the Gingerbread Man yarn has turned out really gorgeous. Really lovely. And I've got a pair of really decent sized socks out of that. I wouldn't call them shorties. I am size 6.5, 7, depending on the shoe, UK size. So I don't have small feet. So to get 2 pairs of socks out of one skein, pretty chuffed with that. Pretty chuffed. Itchy eye. Itchy nose. Somebody commented on one of my last podcasts that they really liked my knitting and all of that sort of thing, but they found my hair fiddling really distracting and that I should tie my hair up. So I explained that I am a fiddler, I'm very expressive, I use my hands, but this is the thing, I was thinking to myself, why am I such a face fiddler? And I remember when I was a little girl, I had this minor facial tic for a little while, and it took a lot to overcome it. But since then, and my mum will probably correct me on this, but the way that I remember it is since then I have sensations on my face that makes me want to do this facial tic. I've got it now. I've got to scratch my face. And as a result, I touch my face a lot and I faff with my hair. I would show you what the tic was. I'm going to show you the tic, but I can only do it twice because I will get into the habit immediately. Because I love how it feels. Right, ready? I love, oh, can you hear them cheering? I love doing that. Oh, mustn't do it. So I explained to this lady that I think it stems from having had a facial tic I overcame as a kid. And she said, you should sit on your hands. So I said, I don't think I'm the girl for you. Anyway, I'm now really aware of how much I'm touching my face, even more so than normal. It's a terrible habit. It's so annoying. I'm really sorry. But it's just, I'm 47 years old. I just have other things to think about, like lovely knitting. So then, after I'd finished those socks, I said that funny, didn't I? I then grabbed out of my extensive stash another favourite yarn, again by Bird Street Yarn, and this one is called Pebbles on the Beach, which I absolutely love. It's just sensational. Really love it. I've decided that because I've got quite an extensive stash and because my tastes change, rather than trying to have a general idea of, right, I bought that before this, so I ought to use that one up first, I'm just using what appeals to me in that moment. So this was the yarn that I picked. I did a heel flap and gusset. I did the whole sock in the same colour, no contrast or anything, and absolutely love these. I have no idea. Right, I keep getting things flashing up saying tracking disabled or tracking cancelled, and I just don't know what's going on. I don't know what I've pressed. So when I finished those, I then knitted a sock tube. This is what I didn't explain. I knitted with these socks a sock tube, and then I cut in the heels, toes and cuffs. So I just had a great big long tube and added everything. So it was afterthought everything. I did exactly the same with these ones, using another Bird Street yarn called Old Number 7, which I think goes absolutely perfectly, really good, with the Pebbles on the Beach yarn. Can you hear that? They're cheering. So I got, again, another pretty decent length sock. Then, now I've used some of this before, this Old Number 7. Then I thought, right, I'll just knit a tube out of the Old Number 7. Yes, another sock. This is the last sock and the last bit of knitting I will be showing you. I picked out some chartreuse by FamilyYarn that I've knitted some socks in previously. It's their silky sock in the yak. So this is all Old Number 7. I knitted a tube, but I didn't have quite as much left, because this is the third time I've been using this, as I would have liked. So I ended up, oh, listen to, knitting a really big toe out of some West Yorkshire spinners. I'm not sure I like it, because the heel's going to go in about here. So I think it's going to look a bit weird. But I really like how that looks, and that's going to look good in the winter, popping out of my boots and shoes. So I'm not too bothered about this. And I'll cut a heel in with the same West Yorkshire spinners. It's so sturdy, and it's tried and tested, whereas I haven't tried and tested the yak. Here we go. So I'm just coming down the toe now. Just got a few more rounds of that, and then I'll cut in a heel, and I'll have another pair of socks done and dusted. They look funny like that, don't they? So that's the project at the moment. Just shove this sock in there so I can use it as a guide for where I'm putting my heel in. I think I put my heel in 64 stitches before the first decrease for the toe. I use So Sweet Violet's top down beanie toe for the toe, and also again for the heel. When I cut it in, I do 4 rows of just go round and round and round, and then I start doing the top down beanie toe, and that gives you the toe and the heel, which looks weird like that. But if I do this, now Popper's sneezing, he's got the biggest, loudest sneeze, but don't think the camera will have picked that up. There we go, like a proper sock. It looks perfectly normal when it's on your foot. I think this might be a little short video today. I'm up to 20 minutes, and that's without any cuts or edits. which is, it's nice sometimes for a change, isn't it? Mix it up a bit. I'm still doing my English paper piecing patchwork. Things are blowing out a bit. The camera's struggling because it's, although we are in July, it is in fact the 16th of July. We've had non-stop rain for about 3 weeks now. It's been not very nice, quite cold. Sits somewhere between 12 degrees and 15 degrees, which is pretty chilly for a British summer. But we are used to it. It's not new to us. It's fine. And I don't mind. I don't mind it. I have realised that I like the seasons to be as they should be. The thing that I struggle with in the summer is just the length of the day, daylight hours. It's too much for me. It wears me out. I'm not going to moan about the weather. I've finally started and finished these cushion covers. This was an old blind that I unpicked. You can still see some of the stitching lines from where it was a Roman blind. And this is some Sanderson fabric that I was given a very long time ago. And I'd got enough to make either one cushion front and back or 2 cushions with a contrasting back. So when I was chatting about it months ago on here, you guys said, do 2 cushions and have a contrast back, and that's exactly what I've done, because I do listen sometimes. They are going in my drawing room, which is just the jokey name that we call our living room, because when we did the extension, we already had what we called the living room, so to call the drawing room the living room was confusing, so we called it the drawing room sort of in a jokey way, and then it stuck, and now we talk about it quite seriously as a drawing room, but we don't have a country manor house. Although apparently to qualify to have a drawing room, all you need is to have an additional reception room, which we do, so it can legitimately be called a drawing room, but it just sounds a little bit above our station, because we all know I am below stairs staff. Pleased with those, they're lovely. I'm going to do some sewing in a second. I'm going to make those bob trousers, or bob pants I think they're called, but I've got some fabric that I want to make them out of, but I also want to make a dress out of that fabric, and I don't know if I'll have enough for the trousers and the dress, but the dress is taking precedence. I'll show you the pattern. Blowing me out a bit. Here's the pattern. My mate Jules, again, is that the 3rd name drop? She gave me this for Christmas, I think. Might have been my birthday last year, but I think it was Christmas. And I intend to do this dress. But depending on how much fabric I've got, I might do this dress, because I've got lots of lovely little blouses I could wear underneath it, and I think that would be adorable. This is the fabric. The bob pants, I don't think I have got a picture. I'll tag it all below. All the links and stuff will be down below. Right, before I go, I have got a few purchases that I've had for a while but kept forgetting to show you. Oh, I've got some pottery to show you. Pottery's over at the moment because my friend has moved house, so hopefully it will start back up soon. But some of you might remember, she is my friend whose chickens in the autumn last year I started looking after, had they moved in with us here into our paddock, because she had to put everything into storage, and over time she's decided that she's not bothered about having the chickens back, and I am very bothered about giving the chickens back because I love them and now they are mine. So she has very happily said that I can keep her coop, her chickens, her feeding bins, just the whole lot. So I now have a flock of chickens that I've added to that I'm utterly obsessed with. Just love them so much, so much. Why did I start telling you that? Oh, because she's also my friend who does the pottery, and I've got some pottery to show you. I'll show you the pottery first. So I've got these little things. They are, come on. You see that? They're just little discs of clay, and I've just scratched into them. They've got a slip over the top and I've just scratched into them. And you can dangle it from the top with a bit of ribbon or string. And I've written Love Gainer on the back. I've got all sorts of different designs that I've done. And these are for hanging in and amongst your woolens. Or I've made some here. I did these in a rush, so they're not so good. I forgot to put the holes in. These are just to nestle in your drawer with all your woolly stuff. There's loads of different ones. I did loads. I really enjoyed doing it. And I've sprinkled them all. Ooh, they're dark. It's done something. There's a sign up there with a temperature gauge on it. I don't know what that means. I don't like this camera. Let's press on. I've sprinkled it with lavender oil, all of this stuff. And what happens when you sprinkle them, Timmy's awake now. Hang on, I'll get you Timmy. When you sprinkle them, it goes like that and you think to yourself, oh my goodness, but it just absorbs in and then goes back to being like that, but smelling good. So I've got them all in a little old Chinese takeaway tub. Just going to get Timmy, hold on. Hopefully the camera will sort itself out.
He's a beautiful, beautiful boy.
Look at this one. Oh, he's precious. He's so old now. You're such an old hamster, aren't you? I love him so much. You can stay here while we chat. So that's my my pottery thingies. I actually think this light is probably better than how it was. I don't know. Then Toby would love for me to knit him a jumper, so I've chosen one by Petite Knit and I can't remember what it's called. When I start it I'll give you all the information, but I've got enough of this yarn to make him a jumper, so I'm going to start that shortly. I got it from No Frills Knitting. I could wear this. It's scratchy but not itchy. I don't mind something that's rough, I just don't like something that's tickly. That's lovely. I was also very naughty and stupid one weekend. Could not help myself. And I got sock yarn that I don't need, but I love it. It's by Pixie Yarn. She's such a good dyer. And she's local to me. She lives in the village that my son goes to school in, so I'm all for local. There's one of my head hairs on that. Sorry, Sophie, I didn't show that up very well, did I? I'm looking forward to starting on a pair of socks. I think I'm going to do the Francis socks by Emily Clawson, Salt City Knits. I've got a pair of those that I knitted a long time ago as a test knit, and they're one of my favourite pairs of socks. I also bought some of this. It's a Zwallaballaball. Zalbaball. Crazy Zalbaball. Really love that. I got that with a mind to making Toby some Christmas socks, or just some socks. We don't really do gifts anymore. Got him some of that. Is that it for purchases? Oh, I haven't shown you these. I finished these. I'm a brilliant podcaster, one-handed, holding a hamster. He's still here. I finished these with the Woolly Mammoth minis, the natural sock. So I've shown you these now. I'll be able to wear them and report back on how well it stands up. It's quite a rustic yarn, but not nasty and rough. Beautifully processed. I really like these socks. Not self-striping, I striped it myself. I just love them. Love the colours. I'd love a jumper. I've got the scraps of these to, when I get back to doing that Nemesis jumper, I'm going to be embroidering all around the neck flowers, with flowers. Oh, you're such a special boy. Oh, he's so old now. When he bites me, he's so gentle. Coconut would take skin off, take your whole nail off, but Timmy knows. He knows when you're not food. You're such a sweet boy. Oh, I love him. I'm going to miss him when he's gone, and he can't last forever. Oh, I'm back. It's cooled down now. Apparently that's what the temperature little thingy was. Now, whether the screen had gone dark for me... Battery's running out now. Oh. Okay, new battery. So I've probably moved around, but people say that, and I always think, well, I don't care. It's fine. What's the problem? So I don't know why I just said it. I just felt I should. In that time, whilst the camera was cooling down, I have measured my bust correctly this time, because I had thought that I'd got a 40-inch bust, and actually I've only got a 37-inch bust now. Bit of a pity, huh? Never mind. You win some, you lose some. And I've measured my fabric, and I actually don't think I've got enough to make this Etta dress. Which means I now really want to make a dress out of this fabric, not the bob pants. I definitely don't have enough for both. So what I think I'm going to do... Can you hear them? Let me just see. Sleeveless. Yeah, I still don't have enough even for sleeveless. Sometimes I do find that if you get inventive with how you cut out your fabric, especially with something like this, which is probably a little bit forgiving with the orientation, because there's no pattern and it doesn't look too different, whichever way round you look at it. The weave looks pretty even, left to right, up and down. That's my dog, sorry about them. I wonder if I could inventively manage to cut out the dress from this. Even if they've got a tie on here, maybe I could omit the tie and just do a little thing, like a tab with a button on it, rather than a tie. Could do that. Does it have pockets? I could change the pockets to a different fabric, because you've got to have pockets. If it doesn't have pockets, I'm putting pockets in. I'll let you know what I end up doing. Don't hold your breath, because like with those sofa cushions, that's probably taken me about 4 months. Well, it has. I think it was April vlogs that I was chatting about that. So if you'd held your breath from April till July, you'd be dead. Oh, what am I doing? I'm getting caught up. But I think this fabric would just be a really nice frock. Just lovely. Yeah. So that leaves me wondering, what will I make the bob trousers out of? Don't know. I shall be back anon at some point. No idea how this podcast has gone. Doesn't feel like my usual sort of one. I don't know why. Just doesn't. Oh, if you're wondering what this top is, this is the Modern Wrapper Fine. I've just been for a wee and my t-shirt's tucked in. Modern Wrapper Fine by Church Mouse something or another. And it's knitted out of kid silk, haze and, oh, what is it? Kid lace or something. Held together. It's really, really long. It comes down to my knees. I basically wear it like a dressing gown. And it doesn't matter where I go, what I'm wearing, it always gathers a compliment. People seem to just want to touch it and ask me where I got it from. And when I say I knitted it myself, people would think that's just the most incredible thing. It is a seamed piece. However, I think you could do it not seamed. You could change the pattern pretty easily and end up knitting the sleeves in the round. But there's something about it, because it's quite an unstructured cardigan, actually having the seams gives it some element of tailoring, so it holds its shape really nicely. And I think that's part of why it's such a highly complimented garment, because it just looks tailored. It just hangs nicely. It's really, really lovely. I would knit this again in a heartbeat, even though it was back and forth, so lots and lots of purling. But actually, once you get into the flow of it, purling it's not really an issue, is it? I think we've all chatted so much about, ooh, purling, and this is so much better because it's in the round, when there's nothing wrong with purling. And after a while, you can purl just as easily and as fast as you can knit. It's still knitting, isn't it, ultimately? Anyway, this got me through a bit of a tricky phase in my life, which some of you old-timers, you old people, will have walked through it with me. It was when my friend had been dead for a year and just felt like we were coming through that grief and sadness of the first year and all of the difficulties that all the firsts bring. And then my friend's mum passed away in the back of my car, and I did CPR on her, which did work. It bought her another sort of 7 hours, so she was able to say goodbye, and my friend was able to be with her mum, and she ended up having a peaceful ending instead of a traumatic ending on the side of the Blue Inn Road. But I felt like I had physically assaulted a fragile old lady, and it weighed very, very heavy on me, and it did something a bit funny to my head. I knew I hadn't got a choice, and I knew that I'd done the right thing, but in my heart it felt like the wrong thing. And trying to reconcile those two differing opinions internally was very difficult for me. I'm sorted now, it's fine, but I did a lot of knitting of this and a lot of in my free time distracting myself by watching Little Bobbins. Just absorbing myself in that calming way that Danny has. So I'm very grateful to this cardigan for all that it represents. And it always smells nice as well, and I don't know why. Right, I'm going. If you've liked this, please think about clicking the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, because that just makes my day. It really does. I will have put all of the links, clickable links, in the description box below. Leave me a comment if you've got any questions or just want to say hello. I love your comments. I just love them. I do try to answer all the comments. I'm woefully behind, but every now and again I get a spurt on and I catch up, and I have caught right up to mid-April. So there's a chance. I do read them all, but I don't always, I read them on the fly sometimes, just as a bit of a comfort thing. Scratchy itchy nose from this. You know, as a bit of a dopamine hit. What are people saying? Oh, can I have a chat? Oh, hello, hello. You know, that sort of thing, but I don't always get a chance to respond. But I do like to, and I love to answer anyone's questions. And if I haven't answered anything, if there's anything outstanding, just hit me up again. That's a silly phrase, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm going to go because I'm waffling, because I've done the excruciating thing of asking you to like and subscribe, which I hate doing, but it's a necessary thing. I have noticed that if I ask, I'm more likely to get likes and subscribes than if I don't mention it ever at all, which is usually what I do because I find it really awkward, which is so silly because I don't mind other podcasters do it all the time, and I'm like, well done, yes, good for you. Right, I'm off. Do you like my hair? Or do you think I should have left it long? It does look thicker and more healthy like this, doesn't it? Even though it's still just as thin and wispy. I can't quite put it up in a pony. It's a bit of a stump, but sometimes I just pull the top bit up and clamp it up like that. And I wear it tucked behind my ears like this a fair bit. But most of the time it's just like this. And most of the time it isn't nicely tucked under. It's a bit sort of wavy and two-sword and stuck out. And that description makes it sound mwah. But actually it's a little bit more hedge backwards than that. But it's fine, it's fine. It's still low maintenance, and that's what I wanted. Right, I'm going. Thanks for being here, everyone. Bye.